Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are up close and personal. I've had a lot of requests to move the camera a little closer to me when I am doing tutorials or foundation reviews, so that's what we are doing today. I have this huge monitor right here and I just see my bare naked face in it, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I am going to be showing you guys how I've been doing my latest foundation routine. I talked about a few products in my January favorites video, products that I've been loving that are skincare, sunscreen, foundation, and concealer together. And I've mentioned how I've just been loving this combination. A couple of the products I liked, but didn't really, I've had them for a while, but I didn't necessarily love them or feel the need to share them in a favorites video until I combined them and paired them the way that I have been. And I've fallen in love with them. So I think this combination is something that really works well for me. I also had a request to demonstrate how to use the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer without it looking cakey. That is a concealer that I have recently been raving about, and I had a viewer mention that she's been trying to work with it, but it's just gotten too heavy and too cakey, and she can't really apply it in a way that it doesn't look cakey. So since I've been using that in this routine, I'm going to also talk about that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So my skin is fresh, bare-faced. I applied a little bit of a moisturizing serum like 3 hours ago, but honestly, it hasn't done much for my skin. So I'm gonna go in and apply the Drunk Elephant La La Retro Whipped Cream as my moisturizer. I like this. At first I thought it was kind of strange, but I actually like it because you just pump up one little dollop of moisturizer and it really is the perfect amount of moisturizer. It's everything that you need, not too much, and it's basically just enough. You don't waste any and you don't get any more than you need. This is a really luxurious moisturizing cream. I am so glad I got this. Initially, I had just purchased the Hydrating Bee Serum, I think it's called, and that just wasn't enough. At the time when I purchased it, I was just dealing with oily skin, and I wasn't aware that my skin was about to drastically change because of the weather, and it got super cold. So I bought that thinking that would be enough moisture, and it really wasn't. So I've actually kind of put using that one on hold, and I've just been using this one. I use this one day and night. So I'm really working this into my skin. I'm also bringing it down my neck, really working it into my skin. You want to make sure you have clean hands, obviously. So in the mornings, I usually allow that 2 minutes or so to kind of set into my skin. Maybe I'll brush my teeth or I'll go throw a waffle in the toaster for my daughter. I just do something really quick. I think it's important to let it have those 2 minutes. I think it's really important not just to go straight in with the next product. Give your skin some time to absorb that. So let's do that. Okay, so we're back and my skin still feels a little like tacky. I can still feel the moisturizer, but it definitely has absorbed. My skin just like drank that right up. Next, I go in with the Drunk Elephant Tinted Sunscreen. This was a product that I was really on the fence about for a while. When I got it, I mentioned a few times that I wasn't sure if I loved it. I didn't really love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I am enjoying this product more. I've been told that they have actually reformulated this product, so there's not as much shimmer in it, which I think is going to be welcomed by most people. Some people might like that really but shimmer finish. I don't really care for it too much. I thought it was a little bit too intense. So I just put a dollop on my hands, work it between my fingers, and then I go into my face and rub this all in. This does have like a thicker consistency. It's not a super lightweight sunscreen. I've used sunscreens before that are much lighter weight than this, but I just rub this into my skin again really, really well. I really massage it into the skin. I don't know if you can see that glow that it instantly gives. I'm hoping that the new formula, I haven't tried it yet because I still have quite a bit of this one, but I'm hoping that the new formula still gives a little bit of a glow because I do like that. It's not really tinted in the sense that it adds any color to the skin, so if you're looking for something that gives a teeny bit of coverage, this isn't it. This really gives no coverage. This just gives a pretty glow. Pretty, it makes your skin look really healthy. Okay, so I put that in. Now this definitely feels sticky. I don't mind it. I could see how some people would not like this though. So it's important that you allow this some time to settle in. I did put some under my eyes too because I do want my under eye area to be hydrated. I also use the La La Retro Whipped Cream under the eye too. Don't avoid under eye area or use your eye cream. I use an eye cream too. You just want to make sure that you have that under eye area very, very hydrated before you put your concealer on, because a very dry under eye can also contribute to your concealer looking very cakey or heavy, or just accentuating the texture in your skin. A lot of times when your skin is very dehydrated, if you have very textured skin, so fine lines, wrinkles, scars, whatever, if your skin's dehydrated, it tends to magnify that texture. So make sure your skin is very, very hydrated. Okay, next, okay, so while that's kind of setting into the skin, I am gonna go ahead and go in with my concealer. So I'm using the Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer by IT Cosmetics. The key with this concealer is using a very, very, very small amount. This is a very thick product. It's very emollient, very tacky, so you have to just use a very small amount. I mean, I'm gonna show you the amount that I use. So, I mean, I literally use, can you guys see that? That amount. I wish I could show you for a reference how big that is. So let me see if this helps. I don't know if that helps at all show you, maybe not at all, but I just wanted to show you in reference like what the size of that looks like. So I just use a very, very, very tiny amount. I can't stress how little to use. This product is very pigmented. It's very full coverage. So a little bit goes a very long way. What I like to do is I like to use my finger first to apply it. And then I go in with, for the longest time I was using a damp beauty blender. I've recently started using the Sigma concealer brush. So you can use either. I'm gonna show you each application on either side. So let's go ahead and get this under the eye. So what I like to do is I start in the corner of my eye because that's where I have the most discoloration, the most darkness. I just apply that under there and I go back in to the other eye. I'm not really worried about blending this. I'm just kind of worried about spreading this under so that I can go in and blend it out with a brush or a beauty blender. So very small amount. I did use up all that was on my hand, but if you could really see how small of a pinch that was, I mean, it was like, I barely squeezed that tube. I did not use much at all. Okay, so we'll start with the brush. So I'm loving this concealer brush by Sigma. I recently got it. This was talked about in my January favorites video. I love the shape of it. I love the size of it. It's very dense, but it has this nice little like contoured tip so that, I don't know if you can see, but it has this nice little, the bristles are tapered so that there's this little angle here. So it works really great under the eye. I want to show you in comparison to a beauty blender the size of it. When I do use a beauty blender, I just use this tip anyway. This part is just kind of used as to hold it, but this is just a great size. So I'm just gonna go in and press, 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 press. So I'm just literally pressing. I'm not wiping. When you wipe, you basically shear out a product. So if I were to go in here and just wipe, it's just gonna make that concealer more sheer, which might be what you're looking for. But for me, I want a lot of coverage from the very small amount of product I used, if that makes sense. If you go and wipe, you're gonna probably look at the under eye area and say, oh, I need more coverage. And then you're just gonna go in and apply more product. So just go in and press, 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 press. Take your time. This does take a little bit of time. But you want to make sure that you have fully worked that product into the skin. You want to make sure that when you look up, you don't see any, let me look up here. You want to make sure that when you kind of pull your skin, you don't see any concealer hanging out in any creases or folds of the skin. You want to make sure that that's all worked in. Okay. All right, for the beauty blender, I have a damp beauty blender. And I'm just gonna go in and press it in the same technique as the brush. As far as one or the other, I like them both. I really think that they both get the job done. It would be hard for me to say which one I prefer over the other. I take that back. I guess I kind of prefer the brush because it's just easier to hold and it's just the perfect size. The beauty blender is a little big and the beauty blender is kind of hard to get in like right in here, which is an important area to blend right here in the inner corner. But the beauty blender does get the same job done as the brush. I think the key here really is to take your time, work that product into the skin, press, 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 whether using the brush or the beauty blender, you want to make sure you are pressing because not only are you blending it into the skin, keeping the integrity of full coverage, but you are also absorbing any excess product that might be there. And that, I think, is ultimately what leads to a very heavy, cakey look, is when you don't press it into the skin or blend it out properly, or using too much. I think when you're working with this concealer, the variables that really make it look heavy or cakey is, one, you either used too much product, which is very easy to do because, again, you only need a small amount. I can't stress that enough. Two, you're not pressing enough or blending it enough so that you're leaving a lot of excess product there. Or three, if you are setting it with the powder, which I do, you're using a powder that is too heavy. So I think those three variables more often contribute to your concealer looking heavy or cakey. Okay, so now that we have the concealer done, I'm gonna go in and apply the IT Cosmetics CC Airbrush Perfecting Powder, SPF of 50. I've had this product forever. I bought it probably a year or so ago, and my initial reason for buying it, if I remember, was I was using a BB cream or a CC cream, and I just wanted to add a little extra coverage. I liked it. I didn't love it. I don't remember ever talking about it in a favorites video when I bought it or really, really loving it, but since I've been doing this combination, I've really fallen in love with it. So lately, I have been just looking for quick, easy foundation, and this is quick and easy. This Morphe brush, E34, when I looked this up online, it's actually a blush brush, but I don't know, I just really like the shape of it. It is very dense. It has this nice, fluffy, flat, but kind of curved on the side. And I just go in, let me see if I can, I just go in with some powder, and I start in the center of my face, and I really just press it into the skin. I can still feel the skincare products I use that are still a little tacky on my skin. That's the key here. You want to make sure your skin still has a little bit of tackiness, a really hydrated touch when you touch your face. You don't want it to be bone dry. If it is bone dry, this powder is not going to look as natural on the skin. It's going to look more flat, more dry. And you notice I'm just pressing, pressing, pressing. When I get to the perimeter of my face, I will kind of blend it out a little bit. You notice I'm kind of going in little circles. This is such a great foundation powder. I think, number one, it having an SPF of 50 is huge. I don't know, I'm sure there are, but I don't know of other foundation powders, or even foundations for that matter, that have the SPF level that the IT Cosmetics do. So if you guys don't know what the SPF means, a lot of people think that because a higher SPF means it's actually more protection from the sun. It's not necessarily more protection, it's just a longer length of time that you're protected in the sun. So an SPF of 50 isn't necessarily any stronger of an SPF as an SPF of like 15. It just means that you can be out in the sun that much longer. Okay, so don't quote me on this because I'm not 100% positive, but I'm like 96% positive that this is how SPF works. But so basically, if I were to be out in the sun and I could be out in the sun for an hour before my skin started to burn, an SPF rating allows me additional minutes that I can be out in the sun before I'm getting burned. And I believe that the number is multiplied by 10. So if you have an SPF of 15, then that means 15 times 10 is 150 minutes. So that's basically saying that I can be out in the sun an additional 150 minutes over that hour before my skin naturally burned, that I would be protected. So if it were an SPF of 50, that would be an additional 500 minutes versus an SPF of 15, which would be an additional 150 minutes. So if you didn't know, I thought that was a really interesting thing to know about SPF, because I think a lot of us in our heads think that an SPF of 50 actually is a stronger protection, but so it's not necessarily like it's more protection, it's just a longer length of protection. Okay, so that is the foundation applied. You can see that it gives pretty good coverage. You can still see a little bit of my skin through, but this is as much coverage as I would need day to day. It does have a matte finish, but you can see the subtle little bit of highlight that is coming through from the Drunk Elephant sunscreen. Once my skin has time to oxidize and my natural oils from my skin kind of kick in and mix in with the foundation, it has a very, very pretty natural look. So I have really been loving this combination. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply a little bit more makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, so I want to correct myself. When I had the camera off and I was doing my makeup, I fact-checked and just Googled SPF and what does it mean, and I was right, but I was also wrong. So SPF does refer to the length of time that you're out in the sun and having that extended protection in terms of length of time. However, it's not related to a certain amount of minutes. I think I said it could be 10 minutes times the SPF number. According to skincancer.org, it says basically, here's how it works. If it takes 20 minutes for your unprotected skin to start turning red, using an SPF 15 sunscreen theoretically prevents reddening 15 times longer. So about 5 hours. So basically, depending on how long you can be out in the sun with unprotected skin and not burn, once you hit that mark, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour or 30 minutes, everyone's different, right? The SPF starts working and it supposedly multiplies that length of time and gives you that protection. So I wanted to mention that. But anyway, this is the finished foundation and concealer look. As you can see, it's just pretty basic. It's really quick, really easy. I think what I really love about this combination, first and foremost, it is so easy and so fast. Secondly, the SPF that it offers, an SPF of 50, you're getting an SPF of 30 from the Drunk Elephant. I just really like this routine because it's so quick and so easy. I'm using some products that are really great for my skin and it's really giving me great sun protection throughout the day. So I just wanted to share this routine with you. Hopefully it'll make your foundation routine a little bit easier if you're using a powder foundation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Leave all your questions and comments down below. I want to start reading a question or comment in every single video. So what I'm looking for really are specific feedback, whether you have a specific question. I try and reply to every single comment anyway in the comment section, but I would love to feature a comment or share it in a video at the start of every video. So if you have any specific questions that you want to leave, or if you would love to share something specific that you learned, I would love to be able to read those in my videos, to start my videos and just feature those comments. So thank you guys for your support. As always, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.